This is this is the last session of the CAL. So I have completed knitting both the socks. So I've just changed the color a little bit here just to match this socks, both the socks, because I don't want to knit off the similar one for two more socks. Uh, so this is a repeat of the pattern here on the leg is repeated 5 times. 3 times of the purple and 2 times for the pink one. So this is the repeat, and we are done with the legs. I have done ribbing. This is K1 P1 ribbing, and then I will take you through how I do the bind off for the socks. This bind off is something which I learned from my mother. I don't know what it is called exactly, and which kind of bind off is it. So I will just take you through how to do this. So let's start with the bind off. This is a very easy bind off which I do, but it's quite stretchy and it perfectly fits. Okay, perfectly fits as well, and it's quite nice. So first I start with the yarn over. Okay, so yarn over, knit one, and then slip the yarn over, pass the yarn over over the knit stitch, slip one, yarn over, knit one, pass the yarn over the knit stitch, and then pass the stitch and pass one more stitch over the knit stitch. Okay, so let's do it again. Yarn over, knit one stitch, pass the yarn over the knit stitch, pass another stitch over the knit stitch. So repeat that. Yarn over, knit one, pass the stitch, and then pass the second stitch. Yarn over, knit one, pass the stitch, pass over the stitch. Yarn over, knit one, pass the yarn over the stitch, and then pass the stitch. Yarn over, knit one, pass the yarn over the stitch, and then pass the stitch over the stitch. So this is just a repeat of that, and this has a very nice plated kind of a look when the entire round is over. So if you can see, this gives a very nice plated look. I will come back once I reach the end of it. Okay, so we have the last stitch on the first side, so yarn over, knit the stitch, pass the yarn over the stitch, and pass the second stitch on this over the stitch, and then pull this and pull it out a little bit longer and leave this as it is. Okay, and then we'll move to the second socks. Okay, so let's start for the first. So yarn over, knit 1, pass the yarn over the stitch, yarn over, knit 1, pass the yarn over the stitch, pass the second stitch over the first stitch, yarn over, knit 1, pass the yarn over the stitch, pass the second stitch over the first stitch. Okay, so repeat that. Okay, so you can see this beautiful plate. So let's do one more. Yarn over, knit 1, pass the yarn over the stitch, pass the second stitch over the first stitch, yarn over, knit 1, pass the yarn over the stitch, pass the second stitch over the stitch. Okay, so we'll complete the first socks. So I just have 2 more stitch to bind off. Okay, so I will pull this and leave it. I will use a tapestry needle and just bind off, just sew the ends. That's it. Okay, so let's move to the second socks because we've completed the first. So this is how we left it last time. So just pull it back, insert the needle. Okay, so the same thing, yarn over, knit 1 stitch, pass the yarn over the stitch, pass the second stitch over the first stitch. Repeat this. Yarn over, knit 1, pass the yarn over the first stitch, pass the second stitch over the first stitch, yarn over, knit 1, pass the yarn over the first stitch, pass the second stitch over the first stitch. Okay, so we'll complete till the end and then sew the end with the tapestry needle. That's it. So I hope you all enjoyed the cal. So let's meet next time.